Hello everyone and welcome back to Greenpine Zoo and Gardens, and welcome back to our Carnivore House. I'm going to call it Carnivore House because of the future plans for it. And welcome to have a look back at what we did in last week's episode, where we built the habitat for the African leopards that moved in our second to last outdoor habitat that we are going to have for our Carnivore House. Well, in today's episode, it is the first episode of 3 final episodes that we are going to have in the house when everything works as I planned, because we are going to finish the last outdoor habitat for our cats, and we are going to have the last cat habitat as well, which is going to be for the cougar, for a single cougar called the lady that is going to move in today. And it was not that easy. I had to make a few changes, but more on that later in the video. You just saw the 2 outdoor habitats for the African leopards, the big one that you can see right here and the round-shaped one that is going to be a shared habitat for the African leopards and the lady, which they are going to use in some kind of rotation. So one day the leopards can use the habitat and the other day the cougars can use that habitat. I told you about that in last week's episode, and I told you why this would be such a great idea, not just for the case that the animals have more space for them, but also for animal enrichment because of the smell of the other cats, and they can explore the extended habitat every time a new once a day got back into that. So that's the idea behind that. So that is also something that we are going to do in today's episode. We are going to make a connection for the pretty small habitat for the cougar that we had already prepared in last week's episode, and the extended habitat, the round-shaped one. Yeah, and that is also going to be a little bit of a problem in today's episode, but you are going to see that in a few minutes. First of all, we have to prepare the habitat so that everything is closed up, so that the lady can move in without any risk for our visitors. So the plan for the next 2 episodes is going to be, we're going to have another animal move in next week's episode, which is going to be the honey badger. That's one of the newest animals that we get in the game on Wednesday, when the new DLC will come out, the Asia Animal Pack, which will feature 7 brand new animals, focusing on the animals from the Asian continent, which are going to be the honey badger, as I told you, the raccoon dog, which is also a pretty nice and a very unaccepted addition to the game. And then we are also going to have some other herbivores like the nilgai, which is pretty cool antelope, or one of the few antelopes of Asia. There are not many of them. Antelopes are mainly based in Africa, so there's only like 2 of them in Asia, which is the nilgai, and brings us to the next animal that is also going to be in the DLC, the black buck. Then we are going to have the pair David's deer, which is also a very cool addition. Yeah, it's a deer, but it is a very, very unique and special one. Be excited for that. And one animal that I was very suspicious about, which is the Bornean pygmy elephant. Yeah, pygmy. You heard absolutely correctly. It is a pygmy elephant because it is way smaller than all the other Asian elephants, with a shoulder height around 2.5 meters, which is pretty small. They do have a very long tail compared to their body size, which makes it easy to see which kind of elephant it is. And the last animal that we get with the DLC is the... oh my god. And that's also the only one that I don't know the English name for that. So give me just a second to ask ChatGPT what is the name for that. Yeah, so we're going to have the answer within a few seconds. Okay, so it is called lion-tailed macaque, which is very different to the German name, because the German name would be like bearded monkey if you translate it. So lion-tailed macaque is yeah, pretty different. Yeah, that's sorry. That's the 7 animals that we get with the next DLC. And to go back to what I wanted to say, yeah, we are going to add the honey badger first. I also think that we are going to add some of the hoofstock as well, because they fit very, very well right next to the wild water buffaloes. So yeah, you guys can let me know in the comment section what you think. Should we add the 2 antelopes or should we add the deer? Both will make a perfect match. I don't want to combine the deer with the antelopes because I don't know if that would make sense. Oh, I have a better idea. You can tell me what you think about that as well. So what if we actually do a big habitat for the Indian rhino and we combine it with the nilgai and the black buck? That would be pretty cool. Yeah, let me know what you think about that. So then we could have an additional habitat for the Per David's deer as well. But let's go back to what I wanted to say in the beginning. So once again, in next week's episode we are going to add the honey badger, and this will make the final animal habitat here in our carnivore house. I'm planning to rearrange things a little bit in the house with all the staff buildings that we do have in here, so that we are going to use the centerpiece of the house a little bit better, because we will have to build a very big habitat for the honey badger because it needs a lot of space, I heard. Allegedly. Yeah, so we are going to have a big habitat in the center of it. We are going to have the staff building inside of it, and that will mark the final habitat for an animal in the house. And then the last episode that we are going to have on the house is to focus on backstage stuff, on interior and stuff like that. Make it look beautiful, and then have a final tour through the house and say finally goodbye and go into the next chapter of the zoo, because there's lots of things to do still. And you will see in the end of the video what a monstrosity this house has become. It is so big, but it looks really nice. But there's a lot of work to do around the house as well, so that it will melt in with the whole zoo. And I'm very excited for that as well. So you can see I'm doing the connection right here for the Cougar, so that it actually could use the pavilion right next to the main habitat and have a little bit of an extension. Right now the leopards can use that habitat, and the plan was that we are trying to combine the two habitats. If you remember in last week's episode, I told you guys I wanted to try if it was possible that we could have the two habitats for the cougar and for the leopards overlap, so that we actually just had to move the gate, or open the gate and close it for the other animals, so that they could actually use it together. So, bummer, it doesn't work. Who would have thought? Well, to be completely honest, if this actually would have been possible, I think after, 5 years that the game is released now, I think at least one other creator might have found that out and took advantage of it. Correct? Well, so I was not that surprised that it wouldn't work, because it just didn't. So let me tell you what the problem in the end with this was. And it is very simple. If you look at the habitat for the cougar, even if we have just one single animal in here, it is quite small. So I had to let the cat out of the box at some point, literally, and get it into the habitat so that I could have a look at how happy, or let's say how unhappy the animal was. And let me tell you, it was very unhappy. Realistically, you might see a habitat in that size for one single animal, and in some zoos maybe as well for two animals. So what I could have done is deselect the overall animal welfare, so that every animal in our zoo is at 100% all of the time, no matter how animals are in the habitat, no matter how we will fulfill their needs. But that is something that I didn't want to do in this zoo, because we do have the space, we do have the money, we do have the capacity to make every single animal here in this zoo happy, or at least pretty close to that. So the other thing that I was thinking about was, okay, we can't do that for the cougar. I was thinking about extending the habitat, and then I thought, no, why would we extend it once again? We already do have an extension. How much sense would it make to have another extension over the visitor path or something like that? Wouldn't make sense. So I was thinking about having a different animal in here. So not go with the cougar and say, sorry guys, that I actually couldn't make it work for the cougar, we have to go with another animal. And I was looking at the Zoopedia and looking at the space that the animals would need. So first of all, I was thinking maybe the Eurasian lynx would be a perfect match for here, because it is way smaller than the cougar and it doesn't need that much space. Well, from all the small cats that are in the game, the Eurasian lynx does need the most space. Not as much as the cougar, but it does need a lot. So we do have like 350 or 360 square meters in here that the animals actually can use, and the cougar needs 705 if it is a single animal, and I think the Eurasian lynx was at 500 and some, or was it 600 and some, something like that. So wouldn't work for the lynx as well. So I clicked through every single cat that actually might be able to use the habitat, and there were only a few, like the sand cat, I think it was, and maybe the palace cat as well, that would be totally okay with the habitat. And I was thinking, no, we're not going to remove the other animals in here, and yeah, it wouldn't make sense anyways, because moving the palace cat or the sand cat in here would leave a small habitat on another part of the house for the cougar, which would be too small for them. So that was not an option. So the only thing that I was hoping was going to work was give the cougar the extended habitat, so that it can use the extension and leave the African leopards on their main habitat. And I was hoping and praying and hoping and praying, and it worked out. So the cougar is happy now, it is in the green, and so are the African leopards, because the African leopard outdoor habitat combined with the indoor habitat is big enough for two of them. It's not exactly 100% enough or big enough, but it is big enough to have them in the green. And that's the main focus for my animals, to keep all their animal wellness or overall well-being in the green. So we managed to do that. I'm happy, the animals are happy, everything turned out okay. Whew. Yeah, and therefore it is going to be very interesting if we can manage to have a nice indoor habitat for the honey badger that they are actually happy with. I hope so. I hope so, because we do have just some limited space in here, and it would also be a little bit difficult to combine two habitats. So on the inside of the building. So let's see how that works out next week. I'm very excited and also a little bit scared for that. Okay, so but as I told you guys, everything worked out fine here for the lady, and yeah, I'm very happy that we do have all the cats in the building now. And we do have quite a lot. Here's the lady, and here you can see, yeah, she was not happy. Absolutely not happy, like zero happiness. Yeah. Therefore, we needed to change that. Okay, let's see. What animals do we have in here right now? We have, let's go through it one by one. The clouded leopards, the Amur leopard, the lions and the tigers, the African leopards, the cougar, And now let's go to the small cats. The sand cat, the palace cat, and the ocelot. And I think that's it. 9 cats? Could that be? Oh, the caracal. 10. We do have 10 cats in the building, which is huge. Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the old Alfred Brehm house in Tierpark in Berlin, before they changed it or renovated it. They did have a lot of cats in there as well. So this was a little bit weird. I don't know if you could actually see it, because the Cougar was walking through the concrete wall of the building and climbing up the climbing stuff in here, which was so weird. Here you can see it. And it's going to do it again. Here it goes. I don't know why. This is so weird. Yeah, but here you can see everything works. She can walk into the other habitat and everything is fine, everything is great. I was a little bit afraid as I was putting in all the plants in here that actually it would compromise a little bit of the traversable area for the Cougar, but everything worked out pretty nice. Even our keeper would be able to walk to the front of the habitat right here, where we are going to place a feeder for the animal in a few seconds. Yeah, the only thing I had to take care of... Okay, what is happening right now with the video? Why are you acting weird? Okay, the only thing I had to take care of was I needed to have a water supply in the pavilion, because we didn't have something like that, and I had some kind of a problem with some animals in a different zoo where I forgot to place some water enrichment, and yeah, all my animals in there were very, very thirsty, and I didn't want to have that in here for any of the animals. Yeah, in this case I just copied the water supply or the little pool from the African leopards and covered it up with a little bit of the rocks around here. So nothing very spectacular. So all that is left right now is, yeah, I wanted to have a tree in here. The Cougar is using it as well. It's climbing up the tree because I wanted to show the habitat to a friend the other day, and I couldn't find the Cougar until I found out that it actually went all up the tree and sat in the tree, which is a very cool feature. Yeah, but at that point was very, very unexpected. And the down part to this is, yeah, the habitat is pretty dark in here. So I wasn't too happy with it, but yeah. In the end, we do have a lighter habitat, which is the round-shaped one, so I'm very much okay with that. I'm also thinking of refurbishing a few of the indoor habitats for the cats within the next episode, if there is enough time for that, because yeah, some of them do look a little bit plain. I know they do most of the time, even yeah, especially when you go into older carnivore houses or older cat houses, or go like 20-30 years back into the zoo habitat, they absolutely looked like that. So yeah, but I want to do a few changes, put a little more effort into creating the habitats for the animals, I think. But we'll see if there's enough time next week in the episode, or if we have to move that forward to a different spot. Yeah, and here you can already see, or you could have already seen, how big the whole building complex is. Oh, and let me know in the comment section as well what you guys think. We do have the natural path around some of the habitats here, and we also do have this concrete path around. So what should we do? Should we do everything in the concrete path, or should we keep the natural path around some of the habitats? So let me know in the comment section what you think about this. I'm not quite sure. I like the natural path for some of the habitats, and yeah, especially in the main parts when you enter and exit the building, I think it looks more beautiful or more realistic when you have this concrete path. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys want this to look like? So here for that part I'm using the concrete pieces again to cover up all the spots that actually are grass right now. And I think I like it a little bit better with the concrete. But as I said, let me just know in the comment section what you guys think about what I should do. So just a few of the decal pieces here and there, and then we are finished, and our last cat has moved in to Greenpine Zoo cat house. Carnivore House, sorry. It's not going to be a cat house anymore after the honey badger has moved in. Yeah, just covering up the last spots where the animals actually could not escape, but where it looked a little bit unsafe. Well, and with that we are already at the end of today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. I hope you guys are happy how all the outdoor habitats turned out for the animals. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite habitat for our cats here in Greenpine's Carnivore House. And with that being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment on the video, and tune in next week when we are going to build an indoor habitat for the honey badger here in Greenpine Zoo and Gardens. Yeah, well, all I have to say right now is bye guys.